Welcome to the American Business Podcast. I'm Kevin Devecioglu, your host. I'm welcoming you, episode 136. We are in season 5 in the American Business Podcast, and this is the roundtable discussion of the month. Well, let's invite our attendees and let's get the roundtable discussion started. All right, looks like everyone is here. Let's update our screen. Okay, it's very good. Well, I hope everyone is well. Thank you very much for connecting.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, appreciate it. Well, why don't we start with this with introductions first around the room in this virtual room, if that's okay. Let's get the introductions going. Rob, why don't we start with you, if that's okay?
All right. Well, hello, everyone. Rob Tokarczewski out of Gallagher, Vice President of Sales. And we're one of the largest insurance brokerages in the world. My team and I are responsible for supplying all kinds of insurance solutions regarding property and casualty, health benefits, annuities, life insurance, surety bonding, and the likes.
Thank you very much, Rob, for introductions, and thank you very much for joining. How about you, Joe? Would you like to introduce yourself? Tell us about yourself and your company, if that's okay.
Sure, absolutely. Joe Horowitz, Director of Compliance and Audit over at Stetson Cyber Group. Prior to Stetson, 25 plus years in audit risk and compliance. Our specialties are risk assessments, penetration testing, employee trainings for cybersecurity, some forensic work, but we are not a managed service provider. We are a true cybersecurity firm performing the services that many companies don't know how to perform. Also writing policies.
Well, thank you very much. Well, we have a lot to discuss. So this is a great introduction. Thank you very much, Joe. David, would you please introduce yourself and Popfish to our audience and listeners, if that's okay?
It's my pleasure, Kevin. Thanks for having us, and it's great to be here with all these experts in their field. I'm David Faverio. I'm the president and owner of Popfish Sustainability Solutions. We're an electronics recycling company with a zero landfill policy. Everything gets either repurposed or recycled back into the U.S. manufacturing stream. On top of that, we are experts in certified data destruction. We are a certified company by NAID. We can handle anything from a small law firm with a few devices to we can do over 1,000 drives an hour, either at our facility or at the client's facility. So we can handle companies small and large. We're also a certified B Corp, which really certifies and shows our commitment to the community. It's a rigorous certification that looks at all aspects of our company and how we give back to the local and global good.
I also had the pleasure of visiting Popfish, actually. So I've seen David and his team. I also seen their facility. That's a secure facility for data destruction. So that's a great facility. Also, David has a great team helping organizations for data destruction. So I just wants to, share that insights. Thank you very much, David. Anthony, would you like to tell us about yourself?
Sure. Oh, which one?
Which one?
All right. All right. Yes.
Oh, Anthony. Got it. Sorry, Ant.
Oh, is it Anthony or Anthony? I mean, am I Anthony 1 or Anthony 2? Okay, so I'll go. All right. I'm not Mike Shy. So basically, I'm Anthony Bonaspina, CEO and founder of LI Tech Advisors. We're a strategic planning and risk analysis firm that has 4 divisions, including managed service provider, business intelligence with AI, workflow enhancements, and so on, as well as also custom software and compliance. And we have a lot of strategic partners that we bring in as needed. Prior to that, I did a lot of top secret work and measures and countermeasures to the government. So it kind of works right in hand with what I'm doing today. Okay.
Thank you,
thanks.
Anthony. Yeah, appreciate it. Well, we have a lot to discuss in your domain, so looking forward to the conversation. Tony Lucidi. Would you please introduce yourself
Sure.
and your organization briefly to our
Sure,
audience?
sure. Hi, all. I'm Tony Lucidi. But first of all, thanks, Kevin, for inviting me in this entire group. This is really a great group of people. Lot of skill here, a lot of knowledge here, and a lot of time here. I'm the CEO and owner of Lucidi Technical Solutions. We're a small consulting company helping businesses better utilize their existing technology stack um, to help improve processes and reduce costs, predominantly in the Office 365 space.
Thank you. Thank you, Tony. Neil, would you like to introduce yourself and EDI options?
Sure. I am Neil Aberzi from EDI Options. I am the CEO of EDI Options, 35-year-old company. We have a worldwide customer base with customers in 12 countries. What we do is we handle supply chain transactions. So if you are making purchases, you're a retailer, purchasing from vendors, we handle purchase order transactions, invoice transactions, shipping, carriers, consolidation. We handle basically all kinds of transaction handling up and down the supply chain. Predominantly, we work in retailer, and vendor online shopping experiences, and we're data handlers. That's what we do. We collect people's transactional data and normalize it, distribute it to them. We collect their responses, outgoing data, invoicing and shipping documents, and we format those appropriately in the different transaction dialects it needs to be and deliver them outbound. So we're a data middleman, data transaction handler.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Neil, for the introductions. Well, for our audience to know, all of our attendees, they are experts in their field. They are highly respected. I know them personally. So all these conversations that we're gonna have today, I know, and I'm sure that it's gonna be really informative for you and very educational. And I'm gonna get the conversation started if that's okay. Let's talk about 2025 and then 2026. How was last year for you? Any surprises, any unexpected event that you like to share from your own domain and in general in business? And also let's talk about 2026, your expectations, your predictions, how it's going to be the year. Who likes to go first?
All right.
Now this crowd decides to be shy.
Come on, we're all chatters here.
I'll start because I'm the shyest of the group, so I'm going to start.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Uh-huh.
So I would say, and I think I was saying this a little bit earlier, that 2025 was just as slow as expected. I think people are still being very reactive. Now with a lot of regulations that are really coming down the pipeline and that are going to be enforced, people are going to be forced to be proactive rather than reactive. Hopefully, I see, as someone who's worked a lot in big corporate environments and outside of Long Island prior to the last 5 or 6 years, I've noticed that it is a very reactionary region when you come to Long Island, and it's a sad state to be because, from a cybersecurity perspective, we could all, and security perspective in general, we could all say that it's getting worse out there with AI. It's really hackers are getting a lot more sophisticated. We're seeing a lot more click rates with people clicking on phishing emails and a lot more breaches. I'm getting inundated with notices left and right. So really hoping that it changes in 26 and that people really start to wake up and realize that it not to be penny wise and pound foolish.
But I would say, Joe, that's generally technologies in general on the island. Too many of these companies. I mean, we've had this conversation many times, and I saw this in 2025. Pitching the sales and getting the contract to close was a lot harder in 2025 because, people don't want to move forward with technologies. Right? They want to wait. They I'll see, I'll wait, I'll see. What did shock me was the cybersecurity. I mean, so many people just said, "No, we'll kick the can," and then I see so many small to medium-sized businesses getting hacked, and and thank God some of it wasn't ransomware. It was just attacks. But I agree. I think the island, for some reason, businesses predominantly push off tech advancement and tech initiatives. Even the large ones, even the large ones.
Yeah, there was a lot of uncertainty the last year. I mean, especially with the tariffs and everything,
Yeah.
new president and so on, and businesses were just
Right.
holding off. Starting in January, I felt it, and went on since then, and the whole year was like pretty much flat. Also, a lot of clients that I did have were looking for the cost cut and so on the best they could because, again, uncertain. January of 2026 so far looks better. Okay, right off the bat. So I'm hoping and seeing that people are now not so concerned and so on. They're opening their checkbooks.
Yeah, I think the uncertainty does play a big part, and we saw that also. Although, there was a big pickup towards the end of the year for us. And you guys talk about the sales cycle and people putting things off. Try and get them to part with their old electronics where they can just pile it up in their warehouse or in another cubicle. The big joke around here is I always tell everybody we're not selling medicine, right? People don't need us to survive until they really need us. And I think we ran into that a lot at the end of the year. We had a lot of clients calling us either because they had to be out of a facility by a certain date and it was an emergency. We're fortunate that we do deal with a lot with some clients. A good part of our clients are very concerned about the security of their data and the environment. So they do use us on a regular basis. So we're fortunate to have that regular base that just builds it into their schedule. We see more of that coming in 2016. Not 2026, sorry.
Well, if it makes everyone feel a little bit better. So I have the perspective from a national and a global perspective in terms of what we do. And no different across the country than it is here in the tri-state New York area in that, people are holding on to their money a little bit longer, tightening their belts. For us, we're on the insurance side, though. So businesses can't hold off on supplying health benefits or supplying or having general liability and the various property and casualty policies that they need in order to be in business. So it's a matter of, for us, it was a really strong year as a broker, simply because with the tight belt, with everyone tightening their belts and with everyone being cost conscious, business owners and corporate executives being so even more cost conscious than usual, they were interested in having conversations about ways that they could make sure that they're getting maximum value for their dollar, make sure that the dollar is being spent correctly, and enabled for somebody like myself and our company to be able to differentiate ourselves. And that's why I have such a strong appreciation for everybody on this panel, is that you guys are very, very good at what you do, and the differential comes out as soon as someone engages you in a conversation, so that everything that we were involved in is we try to make it as transactional as you guys do, and more consultatory in nature. And I think that enabled all of us to really at least set the table, especially for 2026, because of answering questions and just providing and being that resource and being able to show that we're a little different than maybe the next service provider that might be out there, and why or what we do and how we bring value to the table.
Not for nothing, guys. It's friggin' expensive to live. It's expensive to run a business, and more so here on Long Island. And there's no question about it that businesses are going to be that much more conservative. Something I found through 2025. If we were having this conversation last year at this point, we'd be saying, AI seems to be coming up and it's starting to be bubbling to the surface. And now it's like a stampede of activity. I found last year I was able to engage in a lot of conversations with people on the hook of talking about new technologies. But similarly, people really weren't ready to pull a trigger on anything. But I think this year that the urgency is becoming such that people are going to not only want to have more serious conversations, but they're going to look at the new technology as a way to save time, save headcount, be more efficient. So I think that there's much more opportunity for discussions when talking about new technology, irrespective of the business that you're in, because I think that gets traction and people are interested in talking about that.
Yeah, I agree. I'm finding that too. Customers and prospects are calling me ask me about like they're trying to cut headcount, they want to automate. They're just jumping into AI though without a real clear directive. They're just starting to
Yeah.
turn it on, and they definitely need the experts that are in this group right now to to basically guide them. I mean, you can't just turn AI on and expect everything to work fine, and before you know it, or your private information is out
So
there.
that's the problem.
So
There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of concern about jumping into some of these technologies and then finding out that you've been exposed to something or that you've created a problem for
What's
yourself.
the unknown? It's
We're
the
all
unknown.
excited to do it. Everybody's excited to do something new, to try and break into the new technology and be more efficient and make some money on it. And it's always tempered with these risk considerations and these concerns that come right along with it. It creates quite the challenge because
Yes.
you want to take advantage. You feel competitively you're being left behind if you don't take
Right.
advantage. But you don't want to open up new risks. There's enough damn risk out there to begin with. You don't want to open up new risks.
And it's also the unknown, right, Neil? I mean, technology, small businesses, they look to technologists as comforters, right? So, many people on this panel here, you guys are good at quieting the noise in a customer's head, right? So they trust you. And without that trust, they're scared, right? So you think about AI, you can hear numbers, you could hear numbers ranging from a few hundred all the way up to 20, 30,000, right? So a small business, where do I go with this? How do I implement this? How many of them already have some sort of AI they don't even know about? They don't even know it exists. So I think that's where the scariness comes from, because I've said this before. Tech has basically got a black eye from its own. We were the black box for so many years. We did things, people loved what we did, but they didn't know what we were doing. And if you look at AI, nobody knows what the algorithms are doing. No one truly knows biased or other stuff that are going on. You trust, if you're getting a custom AI solution, you trust the person that's developing it to develop it as per your says. We don't know. So I think people are hesitant, first of all, because of technology in general. Secondly, because all this new technology is a black box. It's hidden. And even to technologists, it's basically hidden.
Yeah,
So
one thing we
saying that.
often
Yeah.
one thing we often run into is, being a smaller company, we're going against like the Iron Mountains and the big companies when it comes to data destruction. And what we find is, many of our clients are referrals, right? Most of you guys have referred clients, yes, to your clients, and we take good care of them, and we network and we get good clients based on the relationships. But what we find is that a lot of the bigger companies, they take the safe way, right? Can they go with Pupfish, who maybe is a better data destruction company, but hey, who's Pupfish versus Iron Mountain? They're a big company. It's a safe bet. So God forbid something goes wrong and I'm using Pupfish, people are going to point at my finger and then I'm going to point their finger at me and I'm in trouble, right? I chose Pupfish. But if they point their finger at me with like an Iron Mountain, it's like, well, they're a big company. And they were like, yeah, you're right. So that's kind of what we run into when we're out there trying to get the bigger jobs. And I'm sure, you guys run into that too, all the time.
Well, I think every one of us, to your point, David, every one of us referral based. That's predominantly our business model, right? When you're a small business, referrals is the name of the game, and hand holding and personal touch and identifying like that. So absolutely, especially in your world. I mean, we're talking. You got to take my computer that has all this secure information on it, and I'm going to trust the fact that you're going to destroy it, where I'm not going to get in trouble somewhere where that information winds up somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I gave Joe Horowitz a pat on the back a couple of weeks ago. They referred a client to us, and it was a law firm, and we've done their Melville, Long Island office a couple of times, and they had one on Wall Street. So we went into the Wall Street office, and again, they knew we were coming. They knew who we were. But the guy who was turning over the equipment to me stopped and he said, "Wait a minute, this is my data." He says, "Before I give it to you, do you have ID? Do you have a company ID?" I'm like, "Thank God somebody after 5 years finally asked me."
You never see that, Dave. It's so rare to see that.
Yeah, it was great to see that somebody, took that extra step. And
Just
I was
because you
really
had your
happy that
shirt on.
I was happy my badge was attached because it gets
You
stuck
look
in my car seat
suspicious there.
sometimes.
He does look suspicious.
He is a
You're very
shifty fella,
suspicious looking.
You know,
I would have questioned you too.
like, why isn't this guy Iron Mountain? What's he doing with my data? No,
There you go.
Honestly, that's the best way to steal data from a company. Pretend you're a recycling company and say,
Yeah.
Great,
There you
Anthony.
go.
Let's
I just
let's
happened
put
to
that
show
one
up
out
on
there,
the day
man.
that
That's
we're-
good.
Well, now you just gave all the bad
Right?
actors another
You know, it
great
doesn't-
idea. Thanks.
it doesn't cost
Thanks
much
for
to,
that,
to put a shirt together. You know,
It's
it's
like a
cheaper to
movie.
put together a
Shirt.
shirt than to get a company.
and a truck, and I think I'm on the wrong side here.
Yeah.
This is a great idea.
Mission
But to
Impossible.
Tony, to your point before, companies diving into AI. Like I had one of my clients I went into last week, a manufacturer, right? And I'm looking at, he wants to go into AI. He's going to fix all his problems with AI. And I'm looking at it. You know what? AI is not his solution right now. It's business intelligence. He's got people also that are in the wrong position. They're doing the wrong things. He was losing 10,000 a week because his fabricator was combining stuff, blending things when he shouldn't have been. He should have been just doing a small test run. And so I'm saying that money he was spending there, losing there. I said, and you're worried about buying a new computer on this hand, right? So you holistically look at a company and say, okay, what is the solution here? And then let's roll in AI as we see where it's best used.
Well, that's the buzzword now, right? And that's what everybody wants to implement AI because everyone says it's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Right.
And what do we say? From a cyber perspective, people are putting the cart before the horse. They're implementing AI before they're even having any internal controls to prevent the breach from happening. And they're putting in these tools and they're not teaching people how to use it. And their people are entering into the AI tools, personal information, PII, PHI, sensitive confidential information. And because there's just the Wild West right now, there's no regulations behind this stuff. Right. And it's really just, like I said, flavor of the month. And they just want to go ahead and put it in. They think it's going to help them immediate returns.
But I think it goes.
Absolutely. They got to use HI before, which is human intelligence. And then, the intelligence in this room around this table right now, utilize that first before you jump in AI.
Right.
I think it goes back to what Tony said originally about, I think he said something about, removing the noise and, clients kind of look to us for a comfort level and removing the noise in their head. Well, that's what we each individually do. And that's why we refer each other a lot of times, because we know, depending on what that voice in the head of our client is or prospect, we have somebody that can get to the bottom of it to kind of quiet the noise, provide that comfort level about AI, and maybe you don't need AI yet, and what does it mean to your business, and if you do embrace it, here's some of the pitfalls, here's some of the ways to mitigate it, whether it's through insurance or through other types of risk management. Here's ways to make you more effective. Our job as partners for a lot of our clients is simply to provide possible solutions, but it's up to our client to decide whether they're going to embrace it and move forward with it. But our jobs are also to make sure that in providing those solutions or those options, that they understand fully the impact that option is going to have on their business. Whether I decide to cut back on the insurance or the type of insurance I have, whether I decide to hold on to my hardware for the extra year, whether I decide to move forward into selling online as a business model, or more moving forward more into that. All of those things require somebody that knows the not only how to do it and the best ways to do it, but also provide options, as well as provide that comfort level of, if you are going to embrace it, you have partners that can help you get through it, and then also understanding what might be pitfalls, and just as long as you're aware of that.
Yeah, I just want to add to that, and that's a great point, Rob. But a lot of these IT firms that we see on Long Island as well are not necessarily security professionals, which is why I love referring out to the Anthony's here, or Dave, or anybody, because you have to know the security behind just putting in a product. A lot of IT firms today, they want to just sell your product. They say it's the latest and greatest. They're not maximizing the configurations. They're not maximizing the preventive nature of that tool. they're overlapping tools, and they really don't know because they're not doing risk assessments. They don't understand the risk. They're not covering all the risks. So it really has to become more of a backwards thing where it's not just the IT people identifying what you need in your business, but if you're going to go that route, find someone who has some kind of security knowledge to help you put that in place.
Yeah,
I like that, Joe, because, add AI on top of that, right? Look what happened when AI first came out. People were charging hundreds of dollars for prompts. Now that's just wording. That's just creating a paragraph to make AI work better. People made a livelihood out of that. So, to your point, Joe, you got to know the right people, and you got to ask the right questions too, because I think a lot of these companies are just sometimes, hate to say it, but snake oil salesmen. They're just looking for the next greatest thing.
Yeah, and to add to that too, we're seeing a lot of CPA firms doing risk assessments for cyber, which is just
right.
Anybody who believes that their CPA firm can do a risk assessment, I don't know what they're selling you. You're right; they're selling the best snake oil out there.
Yeah.
You have to really be careful because we've seen a lot of assessments performed that are just garbage. And you're not covering any of the major risks. They're not covering the full assessment. They're doing little minor things because they know the little buzzwords, and they're not covering all the real risky areas.
Yeah, one thing that we run into with the businesses dealing with their managed service providers is some of these managed service providers will take back the equipment for their clients, and the client assumes they're doing the right thing.
Right.
I sometimes think the MSP doesn't realize that once they take possession of data, they're responsible for that data, and they're liable for that data until it's properly destroyed. And one scary thing is, for those of you who have been here, you've probably met Guinness, my chocolate lab, who comes in here almost every day. So one Monday, I was going to take him out the back door for his walk, and I tripped, on the stairs, which never happens. We're real careful about keeping everything clear. And it turned out, I looked down, and there was a bunch of computer equipment on the stairs leading out of the back of my door. And it was late in the morning, and I checked our cameras to see what the heck was going on. And it turned out that one of the local MSPs stopped by on a Sunday. Apparently his wife was pissed that his office was crowded with stuff, and he put all the stuff together and dumped it on my back stoop on a Sunday afternoon. I called the guy up, and I was livid. I told him, first of all, if Nate had come by, I could have lost my certification. If the DEC came by, I would have been fine. And I told him, you have data. We never look at drives to see if there's anything on it. We always assume there is. But in this case, before I figured out who it was, I looked on the drive and said, well, maybe this person at least deleted the data, and there was live data on these drives. So I told him, never do it again and never come back to me again, because, here's a trusted professional that his clients trusted, and he just dropped the data on a Sunday at our back door.
But that is an interesting point, David, because that's where I think the crux of the problem is too. And I think it points to what Joe was talking about and Anthony. The MSP is my guy.
Yeah.
That's the person I rely on.
Yep.
And I love the MSPs. I love the MSPs on this call, but let's be real. They aren't the be all end all, right? So to your point, David, you can't assume. You have to ask the questions. You have to be informed. Right. And I think that's also part of the problem is that they're looking to, and, with AI, it's a black box. I mean, none of us know what's going on. So if you got a company that says, I'm going to come in and I'm going to do a custom algorithm for you, it's more likely that it's not as custom as you think it is. They're just charging you an additional rate for it. But secondly, what back end are they using?
Exactly. Where's my data ending up?
Correct. We spoke about this in an event earlier today. People are using ChatGPT in the back engine, and you'll never know it. And now your data is flowing through a cloud-based solution that may or may not.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. One thing is for sure, when we put something in internet, in AI or in other form, it's a permanent record. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, that's a good point. It stays. It doesn't go away. That's a good point.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. But in that case, we don't know, right? So, we implemented this system, and this person said we're AI based, but lo and behold, they're using some other third-party AI tool behind the scenes, and that tool is utilizing something else that's more cloud-based, less secure. We don't know because it is the black box.
Yep.
Yeah, these are great points. Well, this part of the conversation, let's talk about this year, 2026. Okay, and let's discuss about our expectations from 2026. Any predictions? Anyone wants to make? I welcome it.
As Mr.
All right,
T
I'm gonna-
said,
I'm gonna
pain.
make-
The Yankees will win the World Series.
Okay, okay,
Let's
we'll
put it
take it.
Who's going to win the World Series?
Yeah,
Yankees.
Yeah. Oh, come on, stop it already, you front runners. And you free agents. Get out of here.
that's worse than saying the Giants are gonna be in the Super Bowl, right? Come on, man. Come on.
Well, you got a good coach now. No, I'm just kidding. They're not
I'm going to get started because I'm a little different than everybody else here on the call, right? I do something a little different. So a couple of things I see, Joe talked about enforcement, regulations and enforcement. To us, that's huge because there are regulations out there that are not being enforced, including the data destruction. We're also a recycler. And one problem we see here on Long Island is that our landfills are closing, right? The last landfill in Brookhaven is closing in 2026. So every piece of garbage will have to be carted off of the island. And one of the reasons why we got into e-recycling is because only 15% of devices are recycled in the US. The rest are winding up in the landfills. And even though the electronics make up 2% of our landfills, they account for 70% of the toxins. So they have a very profound negative effect on the environment, which is on Long Island where we work, live, and play. So I'm hoping that in 2026, we see more thought given to what we can do with these devices and better ways we can process them versus carting them off to another state to deal with it. And on the data destruction side, we see a lot of companies that continue to shred magnetic devices, your standard HDDs and tapes and all that stuff. But that data is not gone. It's just cut up into smaller pieces and harder to get to. There's degaussing, which is the magnetic destruction of those tapes and those devices. Shredding's kind of the 8-track way of doing things, where degaussing is kind of the current way of doing things. And I'm hoping, a lot of what we do is education, and we can bring that to, Long Island and the tri-state region of better ways to do that.
Dave, we see these data destruction events that the county runs where they collect things. You know what happens to that data? I always wondered, do they do the right thing with that, or they just ship it off somewhere?
Well,
what do they do with that? Do you know?
That's the thing. Many of them are large recyclers, and that's what they are. They're recyclers. They're not data destruction companies. So they are possibly sending them overseas. They're possibly not destroying data the right way. And you want to take that chance, right?
Yeah, it's very suspicious. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, we always tell, Joe and I did a trade show up in Albany for the New York State schools. And I was talking to some of the districts, and they came over and they talked about what we did and how we did it. And the one client started to ask me, would you come to our region? I said, well, first of all, is your company NAID certified? Because NAID certification is big in data destruction. And they said, yes. And then I said, do you like them? Do you have a good relationship with them? And they said, yes. I said, good. Then I'll answer your questions, but I'm not looking for your business. You're doing it the right way. Keep doing it. And I think that's the important thing, right? There's the right way to do it out there, and there's the wrong way to do it. And it's no cheaper. Well, sometimes it's a little cheaper, in the short run to do it the wrong way, but in many cases it's not.
Right.
Yeah, Neil, I wouldn't bring my personal data stuff to the.
No, me either. Yeah.
No, Joe gives it to me.
I'm always suspicious. Yeah.
I bring my old paint. That's it. It's just the paint. And I do like Ted does in the movie Ted, where I'm smashing with a hammer and I'm dropping in the water. Right there.
Joe,
that's not enough there.
The fact, Joe, that you're referencing the movie Ted is a problem in itself. Okay, let's
a lot of problems up here. A lot of problems.
Kev, I'll throw something out there. What I'm starting to see, and this is just because of AI and computing, and then if you look towards quantum computing, and you see a lot of these big boys now developing these data centers. My thought is, where's the power coming from? Where are we gonna? Because AI is going to grow exponentially, but our power grid isn't growing as exponentially as the AI is growing. So, in my head, I'm like, all right, where does that go? And then secondly, to piggyback off of David, regulations, but regulations related to, let's say, AI and cybersecurity, right? So the insurance industry was great. I say this all the time. They brought cyber to the forefront because they were the first industry to sort of lead into this, uh, because they saw that, you know, they were losing money from
Yeah,
it.
they were the first ones that had to pay for it.
Correct. That's my point. Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's generally what's the thing? Follow the money, and you'll find out the sources. So, but you know, I'd like to throw to this panel. What do you? I mean, do you guys think we're going to have a sort of energy problem? I mean, you know, we're back. You know, we're all feeling comfortable now. Electrical vehicles are out there. We're all green. Everybody's talking green. And I'm watching data centers getting built on farms like it's no tomorrow. Microsoft is looking in the ocean to put a data farm, and now killed fish because it heated up the ocean to a
Yeah.
point where the fish
Mhm.
couldn't
Before
survive.
we get too into that, though, you know, I heard in a thing a seminar I was at that they're actually talking about putting data centers in space because now you
Yeah.
don't have the cooling issue,
Yes.
and that
There
does
you
save
go.
the power.
Yeah, I
So,
heard that too.
I mean, listen, I'm not the expert. I'm great at destroying data. I'm not great at keeping data. So you guys could probably answer that better. But you know, somebody who's not as knowledgeable as you know, what, you know, does that play into?
But here's the thing. So here's the thing. How am I getting power to and from? Right.
Well,
So
I mean, I guess you could use solar, right? Because there's no clouds, there's nothing you have to deal with up
Oh,
there.
that's
For
a good
me,
point.
it's how the
Yeah,
heck am I going to do a pickup? You know, how am I going to go up there to get those devices and destroy them?
How do I do a
That's
physical
SpaceX.
walkthrough? How
Listen,
SpaceX.
I want this little thing. I want this little thing
Bring your
destroyed.
decal, sir.
So for
I
my next
want my
birthday, should we
phone
ask you for a
destroyed. I'm up in
spacesuit?
space. Yeah, that's $4.2 million. Thank you very much. We'll destroy it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It
got to
was
get a
one
guy
drive.
in a suit to go up into space and pick it up.
I need a spacesuit for my next birthday. That's what I need, so I can do my walkthroughs and see what's going on up there. And but I personally don't think we're going to run out of power here on Earth. I think we're going to be fine in that respect. I think that you know, going back though to what Dave said about the enforcement, the only one that I see that's going to be the biggest enforcement is the CMMC with the Department of Defense. I think that that's really the only one that's going to say, hey, either you have this in place or you don't. And if you don't have it, you're not getting any more contracts and you're not doing. And we know as Long Island business people, there are a lot of manufacturers on Long Island that have to probably fall under CMMC, whatever level it is. And now they have to take it seriously because as of last November, they either have to have it or they're just not going to get contracts.
Well, that's the thing. You go back to Anthony's point where you have to follow the money, right?
Right.
The DOD can cut off the spigot, then claim CMMC. So it kind of forces them to do it.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And then
Joe,
when
they-
you look at some of the other regulations, say in New York, there's a couple that we've been working with, the Department of Financial Services, which is really just you have to go on, do compliance, and there is a framework that you have to follow. You have to certify every year. And Department of Education stuff, but there just aren't enough auditors. There's not enough enforcement. And when they send down people, they're very junior people who really don't even know what the heck they're looking at. So it's a very loose and lax enforcement for those things. And but unfortunately, what I've seen, especially in government, they have to still come back with findings. You know, they can't leave without findings. So a lot of times it gets ugly. But there's really not going to be enough enforcement on New York State level, but from a federal level in the DOD, it's going to be very strict. You're right.
So Joe, is that all around security? I mean, are they starting to talk about how we're going to start to put
Well,
this
it's not a
AI
start. It's not starting now because the Department of Education, New York State Department of Education, mandated all school districts in New York had to have a cybersecurity program as of 2020.
But what about AI? Are they
Oh,
involved?
AI they don't even know what AI is half of them.
Okay.
Honestly, so I think I've mentioned this, though. I went to an AI conference last year in DC, all heavy hitters, people from NSA, Department of Defense, all this kind of stuff, talking about how we really need some more regulation behind AI, but they're not scared of AI. It's not good. You know, it's a great tool, but it does need some regulation. There are groups up there that are trying to get Congress and trying to get the government to put some regulation behind it. You know, that kind of segues into, you know, Anthony, we're going to have our thing in April with a couple of AI regulatory lawyers for the HIA. They follow this all the time. And then there are other just groups down there that are just trying to stump for some kind of frame. Well, there are actually some frameworks that some organizations have put together for AI controls. So I have those frameworks downloaded. It's just that nobody is even.
But the government's not enforcing it, right? Because that's
no.
sort of like the insurance industry saying you got to have cyber, right?
Right.
That pushed the whole conversation. Business is now aware of it. The insurance guys are helping them learn it. But when it comes to AI and the possibilities of because AI and security sort of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We just talked about it with ChatGPT being a cloud-based solution. Well, that's secure. Right? It's a security issue there. That's a security issue.
Well, I wouldn't say they go hand in hand. I think what happens is, though, you have another set of risks that are
Right.
business risks, insurance risks,
right,
physical risks. There's so many additional emerging risks that come out of AI. I think when you talk about it, you look at 2026, just in general, we've already seen efforts from compliance and a regulatory perspective. For instance, on cyber, both we've seen that and now continue in 2026, but at the local and the federal level. So the value of somebody like a Joe Horowitz and Stetson becomes that much more important, because understanding the hey, you're doing business in these multiple states. Well, different states have different regulations. So you have one, and sometimes, and I'm sure you see this, sometimes it's like this, where one wants to point to something else, and they don't go hand in hand, they're not complementing, and they could be up against each other. We see that in the insurance world all the time, and insurance policies and insurance premiums are based on transfer risk. So how much risk are you going to hold on to, and how much are you going to transfer in the form of contracts, or to the people you're doing business with, or in the form of premiums that you're paying. Insurance carriers really become an element of how risk adverse you are as a business person.
Mm-hmm.
However, understanding that with the complexity of business regulations, the complexity of infrastructure, all the things are just getting more difficult to do business. So difficulty breeds emerging risks. So really being able to handle that, and I'll go back to and Anthony, Tony, I'm gonna keep quoting you on that when you talked about kind of that comfort level that each of us look to bring. That's where 2026, folks hopefully like ourselves, get a chance to show the differential and get a chance to show the value that you are bringing long-term to relationships. And it's kind of, you become a proven entity. We're proven entities to each other and to a lot of our clients, because we've been referring a lot of business among each other, and it's because of that comfort level. But it's also because I know whatever I'm referring to, anyone on this screen right now, is going to be handled properly, not only now from a transactional perspective, but consultatory in nature from a long-term perspective. And more of that's going to happen, across the board. We've seen it already in all different industries throughout the country.
Right. And I think one of the biggest risks that we're also going to be facing this year, which I've said has been one of probably with AI, and especially now, and I know it keeps coming back to AI, but it's really all part of your vendor management plan. Vendor management risk has been a big hole everywhere, because everybody's now going to the cloud. Everybody's going to a third-party provider. Everybody's going to an AI tool. Everybody's putting everything out, not in-house anymore. There's no on-premises servers, and if there is an on-prem server, it has maybe running one application. So now is the time when people really need to start thinking about identifying all your tools and applications and your systems, your third-party vendors, and really putting them to the, put them to the coals to the feet to the fire and saying, hey, what are you doing to protect my data and information? I don't see that anywhere. Like,
that's a great point, Joe, because if you look at most companies now, that vendor is an unknown. And what I mean by that, I have QuickBooks, right? I'm using who am I calling? I'm going to call help desk. How am I going? I don't have a guy in Intuit that I could call. So to your point, my vendor might as well be non-existent, because I'm not, I don't know, you don't have I'm not big enough to have a sales rep, right? Or an account rep. So that's a great point in that
Yeah.
and I like where this is going because Rob mentioned it. And now I'm thinking in myself, in 2026, relationships are going to become more important in the business world, right? Because to what Joe and Rob have said, A, I need the relationship, but B, I need a person to have a relationship with. So now, getting that hands-on and that conversation to start, I think that's a great point. I think that will be something in 2026 because of where we're standing right now. How many companies I know I worked for, I can't mention a name, but a large company, and they had the same software implemented and paid for in 4 different departments just because they didn't have a process of saying, well, why does it exist in 4 different places? And it's easy to find it, right?
Yeah.
But yet they didn't have a process. So now I had four versions of it, 4 management of it, 4 the whole thing, vendor. It's just insane.
Yeah. It happens. We see a lot of places, they think they have a vendor management plan. All they're doing is handing a questionnaire. And again, I'm going to go back to referencing now Tommy Boy, where they just hand over the sheet. They said a guarantee is worth what? What's it? I forgot what it was. But anyways, they're handing just a questionnaire, which they're trusting the vendors to give back, or the vendors don't even give back. And then they're like, well, we have to do business with them anyways. And then that vendor gets breached or something happens. But
think about it, Chuck. Who's the person they're talking to when you say vendor man? They're talking to the sales guy. They're not talking
and that's a problem. And that's a problem.
And they point to a website where here's our compliance and everything. And then that's where it stopped. Stops, and then all right, you're holding the bag after they get hacked, and because there was really no depth to what they did.
Yeah.
So I saw this too. I got a letter in the mail because my healthcare information was stolen from a company. I had no clue who it was, and I'm saying it's a third party of a third party.
Yep.
And I'm saying, and they had my information, and what were they doing with it to begin with? And I'm like, okay, this is crazy. So in order to protect a company, it's such a spider web of you're trusting your first level of power school, whoever it might be that you're dealing with, and you're making sure that they have their compliance and everything in place. And then
and when people throw their hands up and they say there is so much concern and there is so many risks involved that I can't possibly conceive of them all, and that's got to be a high degree of frustration for people.
And Neil, it's the reason why people don't move. Right?
Yeah, exactly. That's why they
don't. I'm already scared.
Because they're frozen.
I'm already scared. You heard it in the event today. That one girl's like, I want to change the subject. You guys just scared me. That was a reality, right?
Because you throw AI on top of all this. I mean, of the spider web.
100%.
I just got a new Tesla here, and it's got Grok in here. It's listening to me. I'm like, shut the hell up. I don't want it to listen to whatever I'm saying.
Don't yell at your car. It's going to somehow strangle you. Don't do
that's the next gen. Yeah, that's
Just
next week's update.
Oh, God. Is going to come out and slap him.
You know what? But a good point about you kind of talk about when you mentioned vendor management. What is vendor management? Not too long ago, it was supply chain management, but you don't have supply chain management anymore. Vendor management, because the ecosystems have become more complex.
Yep.
To Anthony's point just a couple minutes ago, that you don't even know who has your data or who has access to what. So really, the expansion of business models and just the expansion of the business in general moving forward as it becomes more complex and more interrelated. You have the expansion from supply chain management, vendor management. But you now have such a exposure out there that you really have to have a better understanding. I always kind of kid around from an insurance perspective. You could get a policy for coverage for anything, and if you start to think about it, especially as a business owner, corporate executive, of all the different what ifs and all the different risks, well, you wouldn't leave your house. You'd stay in, you'd be sucking your thumb in the closet, all worried about being, frozen, worried about all all the things that could happen.
I know, it's so
And that's
funny.
why
I hid into my closet. I went in there and Joe was in there. I'm like,
I found you.
I wasn't
found you.
aiming that reference at you, but I guess it was.
Your lock wasn't good enough, AV. Come on, man.
Okay, well, this is a great conversation, but just to manage the time together in a more productive way, and I know we can talk for hours, and
we
this
can
is
keep
great.
going.
I have no doubt. What I like is let this be a start, and we can have these roundtable discussions periodically because there's a lot to cover, and these are all educational, informative content that we are sharing here. Well, as we are about to close this discussion with one sentence or two, any suggestions from your domain, from your expertise for small and mid-sized businesses, American businesses, which we always say in the American Business Podcast, small business is a big business. They are the backbone of the U.S. economy. So with a couple of sentences, any suggestions that you can share with business owners. Rob, let's start with you. Let's go around the room before we wrap it up.
I'm going to take two. One is
All right.
say that individuals should be tuning in to the American Business Podcast every week.
Thank you for your support.
How much more?
You're not getting paid for this, Rob. Come on.
Little plug there. And then second, I'll say,
Thank you.
Ask questions. Knowledge is something to be shared, but knowledge also. I feel like everyone that I speak to, it's like a frustrated teacher that wants to get information out. So, ask as many questions. If you're as a business owner or corporate perspective, regardless of whether you're a small company, large company, you run a group of 2 people, you run a group of 20 people, ask questions, because the complexity of businesses and the need to really more fully understand your risks, but also the payoffs of new technology and new ways and efficiencies of doing things. It's too important not to ask questions.
Thank you, Rob, and your insights are always informative and educational, and we truly appreciate it.
I'm taping that, and I'm going to give my wife and children that as well.
Thank you, Joe. What do you say from your point of view? Any
first of all,
suggestions?
everyone on this panel is, for anybody watching this or listening to this, this really is a panel of experts who know their stuff. They've been around the block. They really are not green in any way, shape, or form. What I've said for a few years, and I think if people have heard this a lot, I said be preventive and proactive rather than reactive.
Mm-hmm.
The worst thing you want to do is get that reputational risk thrown in the garbage, because once you lose your reputation, you're losing your business, you're losing your clients, you're losing your customers. They used to also say you should always know a guy who is either a lawyer or a doctor. Now you need to know, I'm sorry, not just a guy, but anybody who is a security professional or who knows stuff about this, because it's not going to be just your one person IT shop that's going to know how to protect your business. And honestly, these risks are not an IT risk. They're a whole business risk. It's business risk. Mm-hmm. And when we start changing our mindset to realize that it's a business risk, and you can't, even if you're a CEO or the owner of a small, mid-sized company, you have to get a little bit into these weeds and understand what these risks are and why it's ultimately going to affect your bottom line and just your overall business.
Thank you very much. Anthony?
Yeah, well, number one, I agree with Joe completely with this, and we have a lot of experts on this, and really should be, these tap into their expertise. But the thing I want a business to take away is that we're all technology companies, everybody, and we depend on it wholeheartedly. I mean, I kid that you could do without your accountant and your lawyer for a few hours, a few days, a few weeks, a few months. Try to do without your technology. Now, to that point, since we're all technology business and really dependent on it, we need to make sure the businesses need to have a budget in place, and a budget that's assigned for technology, and they need to put a percentage of their revenue against that so they can take care and do proactive work. And I always joke, and sometimes not, but I go through, but regarding how much they should be spending, and I've seen really, really drastically underspending on the technology side, but between 3 and 11%, and definitely higher if you're doing DoD work. of your revenue, your budget should be as applicable to technology. All right, that includes insurance, includes your personnel that you might have to use supporting it, your contracts, your tools. It needs to be defined, so that you have that, so you can minimize your risk.
Neil, any final remarks and suggestion from your side, Neil?
Sure. Always got something to say. There's, if someone came to me for advice going forward, I would have to say to them that there's a lot of risk out there, but don't let the risk freeze you from solid decision making. Find good, solid people that you can consult with, like the folks on this call, excellent, knowledgeable people who have experience in what you want to do, and go and do it. There's a lot of excitement out there, a lot of new technologies and a lot of new exciting things to get involved in. Be careful, but don't let the risk freeze you. Don't let it paralyze you from moving forward, because I think in 2026, there's going to be companies that embrace change are going to, I think, move ahead, move to the front of the line for sure.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Tony Lucidi,
So I'm gonna
final
piggyback.
remarks.
Yep,
Yes.
I'm going to piggyback on what everybody else said. I'm going to
Thank
use
you.
one word: educate. That's really where it comes down to. What I find frustrating, every one of these people are on this call giving free advice. We go to these technology events, we give free advice. Go and have a conversation with somebody. Joe had said it, right? And Rob had said, talk to somebody. Don't Google it and think, oh, I read a Google article, therefore I'm educated in this space. It doesn't work that way, right? So we're all basically saying you got to have the right people to help you out. Well, how do you get to know the right people? You have to educate yourself about them, and you have to have a conversation with them. My advice is get out there and basically saying what Neil said, get out there, meet people, get to know somebody. I use this analogy all the time. If you're going to have a contractor build you a bathroom, you're going to go with the best contractor, the one that gave you the best price, or the one you felt most comfortable with because they're going to be in your home. And the reality is you're going to go with the one you're most comfortable. How do you get comfortable with technologies if I'm not reaching out to the technology companies and guys like us, the small business world? That's the small business to small business understands each other. So if a small business guy goes to a small business tech company, I think you're going to have a better shot. You're going to get, and I've always said this, tech people, we love to regurgitate. We don't hold secrets. We're just like, tell me, and I've seen Anthony do it a million times. Anthony gives information that he should be getting paid for, but he just gives it out and says, listen, when you're ready, come back to me. That's the conversation. So people got to take advantage of that. That's how the help gets out there.
I appreciate it. David, final remarks and any suggestions you can share with business owners.
Yes, and Kevin, thanks for having us. I know these guys really well. We interact a lot, and I learn every time I speak with them and we meet. So it's great to have this kind of a round table. So yeah, just a couple of things. Data destruction, you're responsible for that data until it's gone forever. So make sure if you're choosing a vendor, they are NAID certified. That is the place to start, and that should be your minimum requirement. And on the recycling side, a little bit of change by everybody can make a huge difference in what's happening in our environment. You don't have to become a crazy person hanging off a Greenpeace ship to make a difference. You can just kind of take some small steps in your organization and make a huge difference.
Excellent.
Thank you very much. Well, these are great insights from all of you, and I truly appreciate it that you took your time, you joined the American Business Podcast Roundtable, and you shared your insights. That's priceless, and that's a great contribution to the American Business Podcast community. I truly appreciate it. And to our viewers and listeners, I know our attendees for many years. So they are experts in their fields, people that we can trust, we can listen to. And just like we discussed earlier, it's all about finding right partners for our businesses and for our careers and our career journey. In that sense, these partnerships that we built individually as well as in a corporate sense from business to business, that's how we are actually taking our career journey and our businesses further. So that's a great opportunity in that sense to learn from our attendees today, and they took their time to share their insights. That was very educational. David, Rob, Joe, Anthony, Neil, Tony, thank you so much for being with us. Appreciate it in your
Thank
busy
you for having
schedule.
me.
Kevin, thank you for having us. This
Appreciate
is
it.
fantastic.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Great.
And to our viewers and to our listeners, we'll be right back after a short break. Thank you very much. Would you like to start your business podcast? We are here to help. My name is Kevin Deveci. I am the founder and host of the American Business Podcast, the voice of American business. When we started the American Business Podcast on February 28, 2025, we had only one mission in mind: to promote, support, and uplift American businesses, nonprofits, manufacturers, and the American business community. Within our first 6 months, we managed to pass 100,000 YouTube subscribers, and we received YouTube Silver Award. This is an important award. It shows our dedication to American business and to the American Business Podcast viewers, subscribers, and American Business Podcast community. Now you can have your own branded company podcast within the American Business Podcast Network. You can promote your company, your products, your services, and you'll have instant visibility in front of thousands of the American Business Podcast viewers, subscribers, and followers. You can promote your company, your products and services. You can educate and inspire businesses and individuals. More importantly, you can tell your story, your brand story. How did you get started? What makes you different? And how you are helping your customers and communities. As you know, in the American Business Podcast, I've been talking to more than 100 American businesses. Each business has a story that is inspiring and motivational. I know your business also has a great story which is motivational and inspiring. It is time for you to have your business podcast within the American Business Podcast Network. We help you start your business podcast and we help you grow your business. This is a great opportunity for you to be visible in the marketplace in front of thousands of the American Business Podcast viewers and subscribers. And this is a great opportunity for us to fulfill our mission to promote, support, and uplift American businesses. Please send us an email and let's get the conversation started. It is paas@americanpodcast.tv. Business podcasting as a service, powered by the American Business Podcast, the voice of American business. The American Business Podcast is America's fastest growing educational business podcast network in this age of AI. My name is Kevin Deveci. I'm the founder and host of the American Business Podcast, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you, working with you, and help you grow your business with your new business podcast. Thank you very much. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Reddit. Do you know the biggest challenge nowadays for American small businesses? That is visibility. That's why we partner with Reddit for Business. Reddit has more than 400 million weekly visitors. Furthermore, Reddit is reliable. Reddit is the number one source for real reviews on products, services, and brands. There is a promotion going on. When you spend $500, you'll get $500 in ad credit from Reddit. True story. I am a Reddit user. Anytime I need feedback or review for a product or service, I go to Reddit. I get the real answers, real feedback from real people, from Reddit communities. Scan this QR code and sign up for Reddit advertising for your business. Get the visibility for your company, your products, and services. Scan the QR code and sign up today. Thank you for your support. Support for the show comes from Anywhere Apps by Kirk Consulting, now Cherry Beckert. Anywhere Apps are business software products designed for small and mid-sized organizations. They are ready to help you digitize and automate your business processes. Today, I like to promote Asset Management Anywhere. Asset Management Anywhere is a CMMS software system. CMMS stands for Computerized Machine Maintenance Management System. It is designed to help you manage your assets. Your assets may be your machinery, equipment, your buildings, trucks. You can register all of them on Asset Management Anywhere. Asset Management Anywhere comes with unlimited asset management capabilities. There is no limit, there is no upcharge. Moreover, you can perform your break and fix, preventive and predictive machine maintenance management operations on Asset Management Anywhere. If you have a fleet of trucks, you can also manage maintenance operations on Asset Management Anywhere. If you are performing facility management for plumbing, electrical, and other facility management needs, you'll also enjoy the benefits of Asset Management Anywhere. I have the QR code on the screen. You can scan the QR code to learn more about Asset Management Anywhere and Anywhere Apps in general. There is more. I have a direct email for you. You can send me an email at kevin@kirkconsulting.com to ask your questions, also to schedule a demo, and I'll be happy to coordinate it with Team Anywhere Apps to show you the systems as well as address your questions. I'm looking forward to hearing from you, and I hope you enjoy Anywhere Apps. Thank you for your support. It is time to sign up for the online monthly networking event. Networking and podcasting together. It is called Connection America Business Alliance, partnered and powered by the American Business Podcast. During this unique business networking event, you'll be able to meet with other business professionals. At the same time, you will be in the American Business Podcast in front of thousands of business-minded YouTube subscribers, viewers, and listeners of the American Business Podcast, the voice of American business. Connection America online monthly networking events are interactive. You'll be able to meet with other seasoned business professionals, and at the same time, you'll be able to interact with viewers and audience. That's a unique event. It is because it's podcasting plus networking. If you are in business, you should be networking. And if you're not networking, you are losing business every single day. That is why we created online monthly networking event called Connection America Business Alliance, CABA in short. Scan this QR code and sign up today. When you scan the QR code, you'll see the list of coming monthly online networking events. Pick the one that works for you and sign up. We have limited seating, and today is the great day to sign up for online business networking event. Networking plus podcasting. That is a unique online business networking opportunity. You can introduce yourself, your products and services, and you'll be able to network with other business professionals live on the American Business Podcast. Scan the QR code and sign up today. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Anywhere Apps by Kirk Consulting, now Cherry Beckert. Anywhere Apps are designed to help you digitize and automate your business processes. Anywhere Apps are family of business software products. There are more than 40 products available for business process digitization and automation. Anywhere's apps are easy to use, they are standalone, and they are also ready to integrate with your ERP and accounting software systems. Today, I'd like to promote APS Anywhere, which is part of Anywhere Apps software product portfolio. APS Anywhere, designed for manufacturing companies. Whether you are a process manufacturing company, food and beverage, chemical, and more, or a discrete manufacturing company, automotive, aerospace, electronics, and more. APS stands for Advanced Planning and Scheduling. APS Anywhere is ready to streamline, digitize, and automate your production planning process. As you know, in manufacturing, production planning is not easy. There are always some bottlenecks and challenges. You need to put together your resources, 3M, man, machine, and material. APS Anywhere designed to streamline this process and automate it for you. It is a modern system. It runs on cloud. It also has deployment options for installation on your server or your private cloud environment. The system is scalable. It comes with unlimited number of production planning scenarios, meaning before you execute, you can see the financial implications and timing of your production planning on APS Anywhere. APS Anywhere comes with a very colorful and easy-to-use Gantt chart so that you can see your production planning on a colorful and easy-to-operate Gantt chart before you finalize your production planning purposes. The system is also integratable. It is ready to integrate your ERP system, MRP system, and other systems whenever there is a need. It is designed for manufacturing companies by manufacturing experts. It also comes with ready-made reports if you like to utilize. Furthermore, on APS Anywhere, you can also use demand forecasting function, meaning based on your past manufacturing and sales figures, the system can predict what will be your demand in the future. This will help you manage your supply chain in a more productive manner. I have the QR code on the screen. You can scan the QR code and you can learn more about APS Anywhere as well as Anywhere App software system in general. There is more. I have a direct line for you. You can send me a direct email, kevin@kerconsulting.com. kevin@kerconsulting.com, and I'll be happy to hear from you about Anywhere Apps, APS Anywhere, or any Anywhere Apps that is offered by Anywhere Apps by Kerr Consulting, now Cherry Becker. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Brother. From large companies to small offices, Brother has powerful printers and all-in-ones for your growing business. Scan the QR code and find the best printers for your needs. When you scan the QR code, you can see the entire collection, business office equipment collection of Brother USA, and pick the one that you like. You'll find printers, labels, toners, all-in-ones, and other office equipment available on Brother website when you scan the QR code. Scan the QR code and start shopping for Brother office equipment today. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Rosetta Stone. Rosetta Stone is bringing you foreign languages. Learn from the experts, choose your plan to get started, sign up today. New Year is coming, and if your New Year resolution is learning a foreign language, Rosetta Stone is the choice for you. Rosetta Stone is offering you a long list of foreign languages: French, Italian, German, Chinese, Greek, Turkish, Polish, Portuguese, Vietnamese, and many more languages are available for you to get started today. Scan the QR code on the screen and sign up for Rosetta Stone and enjoy the learning experience of foreign language. Thank you very much. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Anywhere Apps. Anywhere Apps are business software systems. They are designed to help you digitize and automate your business processes. Today, I like to focus on quality management anywhere. Are you compliant with ISO 9001? Are you compliant with AS 9100? Or maybe you are in medical device industry and you are compliant with ISO 13485. No matter what compliance requirement that you have at your organization, Quality Management Anywhere is designed to help you digitally comply those requirements. It comes with ready-made quality document management module, corrective action module, continuous improvement module, customer complaint management module, audit management module, instant management module, and many other modules that you can utilize for your compliance needs. Because the system is cloud-based, you can access it from anywhere. It also has installation capabilities. If you are in aerospace industry, defense industry, and this software needs to be on your private cloud or on your private server on premises, there is also a deployment option for your organization. It is designed for quality management and compliance management by quality management and compliance management experts. I have the QR code on the screen. You can scan the QR code to learn more about quality management anywhere, as well as anywhere apps in general. There is more. I also have a direct line, kevin@careconsulting.com. You can send me a direct email for your questions and or schedule a demo for anywhere apps, quality management anywhere, and I'll be happy to assist you in this process. Thank you very much for your support and looking forward to hearing from you. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Otter AI. Otter is the AI note taker that builds your knowledge and powers your workflow with transcription, automated summaries, AI chat, and more. Get your AI-powered assistant for meeting notes, tasks, and more. Scan the QR code on the screen and sign up today. Otter AI is the latest note taker that you can utilize, and you can set your meetings, you can take your notes, and you can also set up your follow-up actions automatically with the help of the Otter AI. Scan the QR code and sign up today. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Anywhere Apps by Care Consulting, now Cherry Baker. It is time to digitize and automate your business processes. Anywhere Apps designed for small and mid-sized companies as well as enterprise-level companies to help you digitize and automate your business processes. Today, I'd like to talk about one of the Anywhere apps that's very popular in the US. It is called Nonprofit Management Anywhere. If you are a nonprofit and you like to manage your donations, volunteers, fundraising events, your grants, and other documents for compliance and operational purposes, consider Nonprofit Management Anywhere. It is a completely cloud service. You can start using it today with no need for local installation on your server or on your local laptop and computers. It is user-friendly and it's easy to deploy, and you can start using it today. I have the QR code on the screen. You can scan the QR code and you can learn more about Anywhere apps, including Nonprofit Management Anywhere. Well, there is more. If you'd like to talk to me directly about Anywhere apps, you can just send me an email directly, kevin@careconsulting.com. Anywhere apps are modern, they are easy to use, they are affordable, practical, and more importantly, that's designed for you to help you digitize and automate your business processes. Scan the QR code or just send me a direct email, kevin@careconsulting.com. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from iStack. iStack is offering you the latest visuals for your marketing projects, advertising projects, and other projects that need communicative latest visuals. Right now, iStack is offering you 20% discount if you start shopping today. I have the QR code on the screen. When you scan the QR code, you can start your shopping experience with iStack immediately. Whether you are looking for visuals designed by professionals or you are looking for visuals designed by AI, iStack is offering you all these options starting today. Please scan the QR code and start shopping visuals on iStack website. Remember, there is 20% discount when you start shopping today. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for your support. Support for the show comes from Anywhere Apps by Kirk Consulting, now Cherry Beckert. Anywhere Apps are business software products designed for small and mid-sized organizations. They are ready to help you digitize and automate your business processes. Today, I like to promote Asset Management Anywhere. Asset Management Anywhere is a CMMS software system. CMMS stands for Computerized Machine Maintenance Management System. It is designed to help you manage your assets. Your assets may be your machinery, equipment, your buildings, trucks. You can register all of them on Asset Management Anywhere. Asset Management Anywhere comes with unlimited asset management capabilities. There is no limit, there is no upcharge. Moreover, you can perform your break and fix, preventive and predictive machine maintenance management operations on Asset Management Anywhere. If you have a fleet of trucks, you can also manage maintenance operations on Asset Management Anywhere. If you are performing facility management for plumbing, electrical, and other facility management needs, you'll also enjoy the benefits of Asset Management Anywhere. I have the QR code on the screen. You can scan the QR code to learn more about Asset Management Anywhere and Anywhere apps in general. There is more. I have a direct email for you. You can send me an email at kevin@kirkconsulting.com to ask your questions, also to schedule a demo, and I'll be happy to coordinate it with Team Anywhere Apps to show you the systems as well as address your questions. I'm looking forward to hearing from you, and I hope you enjoy Anywhere Apps. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Wizen. At the American Business Podcast, we always talk about continuous improvement and professional development. That is why we partner with Wizen, trust the nation's largest network for tutoring. Wizen helps you find the tutor that you need in many different subjects: chemistry, computer, foreign languages, geometry, English, music, physics, reading, SAT, science, and many more. I have the QR code on the screen that you can sign up and start searching for tutors and enjoy the learning experience and continuous improvement as we always talk about in the American Business Podcast. Scan the QR code and sign up for Wizen today. Thank you very much. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Anywhere Apps by Kirk Consulting, now Cherry Beckert. Anywhere Apps are business software systems, and they are designed to digitize and automate your business processes. Today, I like to focus on Contract Management Anywhere as part of Anywhere Apps software product portfolio. Contract Management Anywhere is an AI-powered vendor, customer, and legal contract management software system. It is modern. It runs on cloud, it's easy to use, and it's scalable. Because of the AI capabilities of the system, software comes with an AI chatbot that you can get your answers about any contracts that you have. Renewal dates, amounts, start dates, and other details can be learned from the system in a conversation. I have the QR code on the screen. You can scan the QR code to learn more about Contract Management Anywhere, as well as Anywhere Apps in general. There is more. I have a direct email for you. You can send me a direct email about Anywhere Apps and Contract Management Anywhere, kevin@kirkconsulting.com. I'll be happy to help you and help you schedule a demo session with Team Anywhere Apps. Looking forward to hearing from you, and I hope you enjoy Anywhere Apps. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Brother. From large companies to small offices, Brother has powerful printers and all-in-ones for your growing business. Scan the QR code and find the best printers for your needs. When you scan the QR code, you can see the entire collection, business office equipment collection of Brother USA, and pick the one that you like. You'll find printers, labels, toners, all-in-ones, and other office equipment available on Brother website when you scan the QR code. Scan the QR code and start shopping for Brother office equipment today. Thank you for your support. Support for the show comes from Yelp. You know, I've been talking to more than 100 business owners in the American Business Podcast. Do you know the biggest problem for small businesses nowadays? It is visibility. That is why you should sign up and list your business on Yelp for Business. I have the QR code on the screen, and when you scan the QR code, the form will show up on your screen and you can sign up on the registration form. It comes with free trial with no obligation. Make it easy for your customers to find you. Do you know there are more than 70 million customers visiting Yelp website looking for services from businesses just like yours? Restaurants, home services, professional services, and many other businesses are being searched on Yelp on daily basis. That's a great opportunity. If you list your business on Yelp, you'll be findable, searchable, and you'll be visible. When you are visible, when your customers are able to find you, you're in business. You can get opportunities, you can get leads, you can build a healthy and profitable pipeline. Consider Yelp for Business. Scan the QR code, sign up, and start your free trial. It comes with free trial. Very comfortable, no obligation. List your business and start getting the results and enjoy the benefits of Yelp Business. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Gemini Trust. Gemini makes crypto simple. Find, trade, and buy over 70 different coins, including Bitcoin and Solana, on the best cryptocurrency platform. Gemini Trust. Start trading crypto here. I have the QR code on the screen. You can scan the QR code and start signing up today. Because they have a great customer service, you can reach out to them and get assistance 24/7. Scan the QR code and start trading crypto on Gemini. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being with me in the American Business Podcast. If you'd like to be a guest in the American Business Podcast, please send us an email, guestbooking@americanpodcast.tv. If you'd like to sponsor ABP, if you'd like to advertise in our podcast episodes, please send us an email, growyourbusiness@americanpodcast.tv. You can advertise your company, your products, your services, and your brands in the American Business Podcast. Please send us an email, growyourbusiness@americanpodcast.tv. You can also visit our website, americanpodcast.tv, to learn more about the American Business Podcast as well as our coming streaming schedule. Now you can have your branded company podcast within the American Business Podcast network. We call it Business Podcasting as a Service, PaaS. If you're interested in starting your business podcast in the American Business Podcast network, please send us an email, paas@americanpodcast.tv. As part of our international expansion, we started international podcast editions. When you scan this QR code, it'll take you to our YouTube page. And please go to the podcast section in our YouTube page and you'll see our international podcast editions. They are ABP Espanol, ABP German, ABP French, ABP Hindi, ABP Portuguese, and ABP Turk, that you can listen to American Business Podcast in 6 different foreign languages. Okay, well, we are in the process of increasing our presence in social media. If you're on LinkedIn, please scan this QR code and subscribe, follow us on LinkedIn. If you're on TikTok, please scan this QR code. It'll take you to our TikTok page. Please subscribe. Please follow us. If you are on Instagram, please scan this QR code. It'll take you to our Instagram page and please subscribe. If you are on Facebook, we'll also appreciate your help and support. Please scan this QR code. It'll take you to our Facebook page and please follow us. And finally, we are on IMDb, next to other reputable media productions. Please scan this QR code, go to our IMDb page, and please rate us on IMDb. We'll truly appreciate your help and support. I'd like to thank you for your help. Thank you for your support. I'm looking forward to seeing you in coming the American Business Podcast episodes. The American Business Podcast is the voice of American business. The American Business Podcast, America's fastest growing educational business podcast network in this age of AI. Thank you very much for your help and looking forward to seeing you. Thank you.